Today I'm going to be doing a training video on how to use ClassDojo and how to get it started in your classroom. So first thing, this would just be a demo class of what it will look like once you get your class up and running. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have you create a ClassDojo account so you would know how to do it. So you're going to go to Google. Once you go to Google, you'll click on ClassDojo, and then once ClassDojo comes up. This is free for all teachers, for parents to join, and for your students to use. So then you have to decide if you're going to sign up as a teacher, a parent, a student, or a school leader. For our purposes, we're going to do teacher. So I'm going to click on teacher. And then you're going to go ahead and create your teacher account by entering a first and last name. And then an email and password. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to do is we're just going to type in our school for your school district. You're going to select it, and then you're just going to hit join this school, and then it should pop up. Okay, so this video will just give you a brief tutorial if you need further instructions on how to log into ClassDojo, what it's all about, and how to build a community. So we're going to skip that for right now. Then once you have created your account, this will be your home page, and this is where it's always going to look like when you will first log in. So every teacher will have a demo class and then a new class, which is where you're going to create your students to be able to manage your account. So ClassDojo, first of all, just a brief overview, is a great thing to use for behavior, as a way to record your students' work, and as a way to send messages directly to parents. It's almost better than an email, and I'll explain that later. So the next thing we're going to have you do is create a new class. We won't have you enter all your students, just to get an idea how to do it. So right there will be your class name, Mr. Grau's class. You're just going to select your grade. So first grade, okay. And then sharing points. So this is just where when parents get a notification of their students' behavior, this will share only positive points with parents. And then if you click the drop-down menu, you can decide if you want to share all points or don't share any points. Most teachers choose to share all points. That way parents can see the negative and positive behavior that's happening throughout the day. So once you do that, this is what your home page will look like for your class. It'll have your classroom, portfolios, class story, and messages, and we'll get to those a little bit later. So the first thing we're going to do is have you add some students so we can start working with it. So go ahead and click the Add Student button. And then you're just going to type in the name of some students. And then go ahead and type in one or two more so we have a bit of a class to work with. Okay. So now that we have our two students, we're going to hit save. And then as the school year goes on, if you get more students, you will just hit the Add Student button, which will always stay there at the end of all your students. And that will allow you to continue to add students throughout the school year. If a student moves away, you can simply click on their monster and hit that you need to delete a student. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the points for the behavior part of ClassDojo. So ClassDojo is a great way to keep track of students' behavior, both positive and negative, and teachers choose to do it in a couple different ways. So if we go over here and click on whole class, you'll see that there are two ways to give students feedback. There is both positive feedback and needs work or negative feedback. So these skills for positive already come up, but if you click the Edit Skills button, you can choose to add skills, delete some of the skills, determine what you want parents to see. So I always like to leave the ones that they have, which is helping others, on task, participating, persistence, teamwork, and working hard. But then I also like to add a couple of my own, and these we usually come up with as a class. So for our purposes, I like to do one called the WOW button. And this button works really well, especially for kindergarten, when they're doing something really outstanding or you feel like they're doing a great job. Especially for kindergarten and first grade, for students that are just learning to read and write, it's great. It allows you to choose from all these different pictures, so they can associate a picture with the words. So I always like to do the wow as a star. And that way when you tell a child to go up and get a point, you can say go ahead and hit the wow button, and that's the star. And then they'll start to recognize that. And then you can choose how many points. So most points that are positive are going to be worth 1 point, but for this wow one, I like to make it worth 2, so they know they get a couple more points for that. And then you'll hit save, and that skill will be added for all your students. Then if you go over here to the needs work one, there aren't any skills yet, so this is where we can add our own. So for the needs work one, I just like to usually name them as things that students know that they shouldn't be doing in the classroom. So for example, we could say pushing others. So for this, we simply type in a title, and then we can select an icon, which I'm going to choose the thumbs down since that's not a great choice. And then teachers, it depends on your preference. You can either choose it so when they hit this negative point, it doesn't take any points away. It'll just make the like bong sound for that they did something wrong. Or you can make it take a point away. So for this purpose, we can do take a point away, and you'll hit save. So then you can continue adding skills as you see fit, and even as the year goes on, if you feel like another skill needs to be added, you can add that in there. So once you're done, you're going to hit the exit, and now we have some points we can give students. So the next thing I always like to do is once you have created your point system, then you're going to be able to teach it to your students. So how you're going to give student points is you either can do it, or a lot of times teachers like to allow the students to go up and do that. So you'll display this on your smart board. You might have an iPad they can go up to, or if you're in the hallway, maybe you're doing it on your phone. So if John is doing a great job in the hallway, really following all procedures, let's say you want to give him a wow. So you always want to make sure your sound is turned up, because especially for younger students, the sound is what really entices them and makes them know what they did is a good or bad option. So let's say you're going to give John a wow. He's going to go up and press it, and it makes a bing sound. Then let's say later on in the day, John is running in the hallway. He's not making great choices, and he's pushing others. You're going to have him go and find the needs work, and he's going to hit the pushing others, and it's going to make a not so great sound. So a lot of times, if you don't want the negative points to take a point away from a student, them just seeing and hearing that like wound noise is enough for them to realize that's not a great choice. You can also come over here to the whole class. So let's say the whole class is working really hard, they're participating. You can hit the participating, and it will give a point to the entire class without having to individually go through and give each child a point. So let's see, then some other things. So that's the behavior aspect of it. Oh, then the other part is student work. So if you go and you click on John, you'll see down here it says add post. And this is where you can share something about John. So a lot of times I like to type a message to go along with a picture. We could be working on our journals as a class, and maybe John's really been working hard on adding finger spaces in between his words. And I noticed he did a great job of doing that. So I would have John come up, and we would take a picture of his work. I usually will take it on my phone. And then you'll hit add photo, and when you hit add photo, it'll bring it up, you click on it, and then you can share. So you could say, John is doing a great job of adding finger spaces to his writing. And then you could say, keep the great work. Keep up the great work. And then when you're all done, you'll hit post. And since you clicked on John specifically, it will go directly to John's parents. If you want to send it to multiple parents, you can just go up to the whole class and do the same thing, and you can check which ones you want. So another thing I forgot to say back when we were creating your class is once you create your class, you're going to want to invite your parents. So over here, you'll see an invite parents button. You're going to select that after you've made your whole class. And then you're going to hit download parent invites. And then once you've downloaded the parent invites, they should pop up here in your downloads. You're going to click on the PDF, and it's going to give you 3 simple steps of how to connect your parents. So the first thing is you're going to print off these parent invites that will be all attached to the bottom. Then you're going to want to send these home with students. A lot of times teachers like to send these home at the very beginning of the school year on like a meet and greet night. And then parents are going to be able to connect to their child's ClassDojo only from the app or going online on their computer. And it's great because lots of parents, everyone has their phone, so they're able to quickly do it on their phone, or if they don't, they can access a computer at home or even at a library. So then after you've printed those out, if we scroll down, you will see that this is what a letter would look like to a parent. So each child is going to have their own individual code, and when you enter that code, it's only going to let them go into their child's account. So they're not going to be able to see Bill's things or Julie's things. They're only going to be able to see John's information. So that's nice because it keeps it really private for each student, and there'll be separate ones for each child. And then there also is a QR code, so parents can simply just scan that QR code, and it will go to your teacher's page, and then from there they will check their student and enter in their PIN. So a lot of different options for parents to be able to log on. So that was backing up. So then once all your parents, you'll be able to tell down here on the bottom where it says invite parents. Right now we have 0%. But after they have signed on and registered, it'll start to become fuller and fuller till it says all of your parents have registered. And then each child can have more than one parent. So if you give the sheet to mom, and then when she goes home with it, she wants dad to be able to access it, they can give it to dad. And then it's kind of up to the parent from there if they want a grandma to be able to see it, or an aunt, or if they have a caregiver that's going to be the one in charge. During the school year of taking care of their child, they can give it to them. So it's up to the parent who they want to have access to their child's account and who they don't. And then some other great features, so we've talked kind of about how to upload student work, is the message tab. So the message tab is great because it is almost like a text message. It's a little bit less formal than an email, which is nice because I felt like at least this year, I've had a lot more parents respond to me because they don't feel like when I'm messaging them that it's formal. It's a little bit more personal for them, and they feel like they can just send me a quick message like, my child's going to be riding the bus home this way, please make sure that you can get them there. So it just kind of allows them to like quickly send you things or kind of let you know what's going on throughout their day. Cool. So when we click on messages, right here it'll say new message. And right now it says no parents connected, so it's not going to allow us to send a direct message. But when you would click that new message, their name would pop up. So for example, if this was Joe, and then after the parents have been invited, you'll just type it out just like you would on your phone, and you'll hit send, and the message will go directly to them. And the great thing about ClassDojo is down in the corner after your message, it will say read at, just like a text message, so you can know that the parent has received that information and that they've read it. And then they will be able to instantly respond. So another great feature about this is not only is it on your computer, but it will also be set up directly. You can get the app on your phone. So I like it throughout the day. If I'm having recess duty, you always have your phone with you. If a parent messages you and needs to get a hold of you, like as soon as you go in, I have it set up so it'll notify me immediately, and it'll say like it's an important message and you need to know that so-and-so needs to be riding the bus home and they're not a parent pickup. So it's a great way for those last minute things, so they don't have to call the office, and you know, not every teacher is able to check their email right before school dismisses. So those are some great features and some different little tidbits about ClassDojo. Do you have any questions so far?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Okay, sounds good. So like I said, ClassDojo is a free app that you can use in your classroom. A couple teachers at my school already use it and implement it. It can be used in all grades. I'm a kindergarten teacher and I really like it, but we also have a 5th grade teacher at our school who uses it, and she really likes it, and even though her students are a lot older, they still respond really well to the point system, and I think she has for hers set up that they don't take the points away, and then they just will earn the points, but they still get like those minuses, and the parent will get a reminder of how their child is doing. So anyway, thanks so much for doing this tutorial with me.
Thank you.
All right.